Hello house lovers, welcome back to the glorious Bonaccord on this glorious winter's day. Let's go inside, away from this harsh winter sun. And here's a very important question. Is it too soon to start talking about light fittings? This glorious 70s shell light fitting is hanging in the hallway, and I am going to take it down and give it a clean and find a good home for it. But it leads me to the question, what are we going to put in its place? Because upstairs in our new glamorous and soon to be completely revealed large living space, we're going to need some pretty sensational light fittings. The ceilings are about 3.2 metres high, and there's going to be those 5 windows across the front, so quite dramatic. Where do you find pairs of chandeliers? What sort of period should we look for? So many questions, which leads us quite nicely to our next special guest. Let's go and meet a dear friend of mine who is a chandelier dealer and see what handy hints she has about light fittings. Well, house lovers, here we are with my dear friend Mitta Hirsh. Hello, Mitta Hirsh.
Hello, Matthew Lucas.
We're talking light fittings. Now, Mitts, you have been dealing in chandeliers for how long?
19.5.
So I wanted to ask your expert advice about, our new house, about certain things that you might want to look for and avoid when you're buying, particularly vintage and older light fittings. You're the queen of light fittings. Here we are. But first, I noticed behind us this. What's the story?
I just picked that up this week and it's just waiting to go out to its new home. It hasn't found its new home.
It hasn't found its new home. Is this Venetian?
It is Venetian.
Italian glass?
It is.
Are they hard to find?
In that size, very hard to find.
Are they very collectible at the moment?
They are.
And
in my book they are.
So part of what you do is refurbish both lamps and light fittings.
Yeah.
This is your choice. So that colour is amazing because it picks out the gold of the glass. So Mitta Hirsh, tell me your philosophy of lamps.
Well, I love lamps.
Yes.
I think you can never have too many lamps.
Like bags and shoes.
Exactly. They're just so accessible. I love the way that they're functional art.
Functional art?
Yeah.
I've never... Well, that one certainly is.
Oh, they are. They're like little works of art, each one.
They are. They're little sculptures. You're quite right.
And one of my pet hates is raw globes. The glare off a raw globe into your line of sight. So diffused lighting is the lighting of my choice.
And the whole raw globe thing has been a bit of a trend, just hanging light bulbs from wire.
Done to death. Completely done to death. Yeah.
Done to death, and that's a big no from you. But Mitta, now you are famous for being a chandelier dealer. You are so famous that did not someone knock on your door and ask if you were the chandelier lady?
It happened to be Rachel Griffiths.
And she just rang on your door?
Yeah, just rang the doorbell and through the intercom asked if I was the chandelier lady and left with 4 chandeliers.
Excellent. As you are the chandelier lady, should we go and see your chandeliers?
We should.
Off we go. Let's go into your studio, Mitta. Right, here we are. We'll go and have a look. Mitta's Lighting Emporium. You manage your business from...
my garage.
But it's the best appointed garage in Melbourne, I think. Look at that brickwork. Yeah. We will come and do another house visit because this house is something else. And Mitta's made certain choices about it, which I think you might enjoy. Anyway, we'll come back to that. So this is your stock at the moment. Does it turn over fairly quickly?
Yeah, it does actually.
Does it? So it's hot to trot?
It is, yeah.
Do you think it's more fashionable now to try and find light fittings with more character, with age, with vintage ones?
Oh yeah, the awareness is really, really out there at the moment compared to when I first started. Yeah. Wider audience, but harder to source.
Aha, like everything that becomes fashionable. Now, anything that is behind us that is a standout for you?
This one.
This one here?
Beautiful German Doria Luchten.
Doria Luchten?
Doria Luchten.
Oh, why is that so fabulous?
All that cluster of tubular glass, textured glass just does it for me.
There is a lot, there are a lot of dealers out there. There's a lot in the marketplace. What should the customer, what should you look for? What are some of the pitfalls?
Well, proportion is really important.
What do you mean?
Size for the space.
Yeah.
Size of light
Yeah.
needs to be in proportion with the space.
Are there any rules of thumb about that?
You can really easily make mistakes
Yeah.
because you're buying out of a showroom
Yeah.
and it looks great in the showroom, but once you get it back home and it's a different space,
Yeah.
it can quite often look wrong. My advice, so this is the service that I offer, is I do on-site visits. Take the lights or a selection of lights and my ladder to
Yeah.
the client's home and stand there up a ladder holding the light in the space.
The best thing to do, has
And you
lava
get-
will travel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you get it, you know exactly what you're going to get.
That's a very generous service, Mitta.
Oh, well, you want to get right. I'm not interested in selling lights that people aren't happy with.
True. And what about mistakes? What mistakes have you made?
Exposed globes that just really cast off so much glare that it's really hard to look at the light or be underneath it. The light that's cast off that is quite harsh because there's too much of the globe, the actual light globe being exposed, emitting glary light.
Which is interesting because light is so important, isn't it? It's about mood creation and you can really shape and change a room's feel by the type of light that you cast on it.
Oh yeah, totally. My preference is diffused light.
Yeah.
Either up light.
Yeah.
That bounces off the ceilings and diffuses back down again. It's softer light.
Is there any makers or styles that are hot right now?
Everybody's really keen on the Italian-made 1960s lights.
Brutalism.
Yeah, brutalism and hand-blown glass.
Yeah.
They're just incredible sculptures of glass. Have I got any? Yeah, like that small one right at the back with hand-slumped discs.
Hand slumped discs. Now hang on, where is it? This
That
one
one.
here.
Yeah,
hand
yeah.
slumped disc. And where's that from?
Italy.
What
Made by a company called Vistosi,
Vistosi. And what period would that be?
1960s. My favourite period.
The decade of our birth.
Yes.
Maybe that's it.
That you just gave away the secret.
I know. What would you recommend people do if they're looking to find fabulous vintage or antique light fittings?
Well, I'd say to come to me.
Of course, come to you. Mitta, the queen of light fittings. Look at that fabulous backdrop of tropical vegetation. Mitta Hirsh, thank you for showing us everything. And I can't wait to come and show you our house so you can get a sense of the scale of the rooms and you can start hunting us down some fabulous treasures.
My favourite thing to do.
Is it?
Yeah, I love
Hunting
it.
and gathering.
Yeah, and helping people sort their houses out.
Thank you, Mitta. Thanks for showing us everything.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
See you later.
Bye.
There we are, house lovers, all you ever wanted to know about light fittings. A million thanks, Mitta. Such insights. Now, I hadn't really thought about diffused light and uplight and the reflection from ceiling. So many things to ponder. And I love the idea that you should try a chandelier in situ and stand on a ladder and see what it looks like. Because to her point, light fittings are going to look very different in a shop or a showroom or online than they do in your space, even if the measurements seem as though they'll fit. I'll include Mitta's Instagram tag below. There we are, house lovers. Enjoy pondering how your diffused light and your uplight and your lack of exposed bulbs are going to make you look wonderful and your room's fantastic. Take care. The virus is still with us. Next week, let's talk about fireplaces. Baby, you know you want to subscribe and you know you want to press like. Enjoy looking at the heavens and deciding what you want to shine down upon you. And I shall see you next week.